Hello everyone, welcome to our 6 to Fix in 6 on SOP Complexity. This 6 to Fix is slightly different. It's going to be low tech. As you can see, I brought with me my trusted flip chart. I go nowhere without it. So what I want to do for this session is to answer many of the questions you've asked me regarding SOP complexity. You know, we're really struggling, and one of the biggest challenges is deciding how much detail do we put in the SOP. Because when we put too much in, you get overloads. The brain simply can't compute that level of complexity. You get the mistakes, you get the inefficiencies, and you get the risks. So let's take a look at what to do about SOP complexity, how much detail to put in, what to leave in, what to take out. So SOP complexity, how much detail do we put in? I told you it's going to be low tech. But importantly, what's really critical when you look at the information contained within an SOP is really what the users need. So this sort of represents the amount of detail that users require to do their job. In other words, the essentials. The challenge though is that people start to add information beyond what the users consider to be essential. So this is what the co-authors do. You know, you get the SOP, first draft, hopefully the users have written it, because frankly, if the users aren't the primary author, it's going to fail anyway. But usually it's circulated remotely, electronically for co-authors to comment, and they do. They add what I consider to be non-essentials. So they add a level of detail that the users never really considered relevant in the first place. And then what happens as the SOP evolves, as many of you already know, often in reaction to global audits or customer audits or deviations or mistakes, we actually start to add even more detail. And this gives us a fatter, more complex SOP, and also for some the illusion of perfection. But it is just an illusion, because as you can see, the SOP has gone from a few pages of essential to a war and peace covering mostly non-essentials. So what I want to cover is the 6 to Fix to prevent that from happening. So your Fix to 6. Hang on, that's the next session, by the way. Your 6 to Fix for SOPs. Number 1, you've got to make sure they're user focused. Number 2, the level of detail you include reflects the commitment to education that you actually have. If you educate people really well, describing the how and the what, but with a specific emphasis on the why, it means that with that educated workforce, the level of detail in the SOP can be less. If you just train, you know, that death by PowerPoint conventional approach to training with very little why and focusing all on the how, it inevitably means that you've got to put more detail in the SOP. So your return on investment from educating people is simpler SOPs. Number 3, do the co-author review face-to-face. Don't do it remotely. When you do it face-to-face, you challenge the comments from co-authors who are well-intentioned in adding detail, but often it's added because they don't really understand. So always do the co-author review face-to-face and never remotely. And remember, the detail has to be sufficient for the users, not the administrators or the co-authors, to ensure that the task can be done efficiently and consistently. So really the users dictate the level of detail that goes into the SOP. Number 5, stop your Kappa system adding unnecessary details. So often in response to a deviation incident, what happens is, well, add more information to the SOP. That's bad practice, so stop doing that in your deviation and Kappa system. And ultimately, finally, and most importantly, use risk assessment to actually determine what goes in and what stays out. So that's your 6 to Fix on how to prevent unnecessary detail getting into the SOP. So go away, practice those. What you'll find is that you will get SOPs that the users can actually need, your mistakes come down, and everybody's a lot happier.